And I'm not proud about that. I'm not happy that I'm admitting that to shame myself. I am genuinely not wearing pants right now. Dude, Cap, what's your favorite anime song? What's your favorite anime intro?
Uh, I actually, so, I was, like right after the Me Too stuff, and I wasn't really streaming and stuff. Like for whatever reason, I just started creating. I realized that my Stream Deck can act as a soundboard,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I
Mm-hmm.
actually do have an anime folder because I find anime funny as a as a tool. And so I have one of the intros, and it's the classic. It's the Attack on Titan theme.
I I think
You know that one,
everything.
right?
Yeah, I think I know the more
The
English.
singing Latin. That one.
Everything is better with a soundboard. If I could have a soundboard on our show right now, I would. But the problem is that the only thing that I know how to do with the soundboard is like play fart noises or like funny game show music. So I would ask you a question and like hit "Who wants to be a millionaire" all the time, and then I'd make a joke about Regis Philbin dying, and then we'd be like, "Wow, Joe, you're gonna get more bad reviews." And that's
Can you overlay like 5 seconds of the Attack on Titan theme song with me trying to sing it?
yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll do that just for you, man. I'm only asking about the anime because I'm looking over when I record the podcast. I look forward and I see the rest of my I'm in the middle of my living room, and then if I look to the left, I have like a little patio that's very small, but there's a sliding glass door to go outside, and I can see my neighbors over to the left, and they're just always watching TV. And for a while, it's been a lot of like nightly news, and it's been a lot of I think they watched the entirety of Grey's Anatomy, but now they're watching anime, which just really confused me because they went from like old people TV to like anime that is. I mean, they're subs on it, so they're watching the original dub. So I have so many questions.
How old are your neighbors? Are you able to, have you seen them?
They're in their 30s. It is like a 30s situation, like a mid to late 30s. They have money, dude. They just got a Peloton, so those are fucking expensive. Their furniture is expensive. And I'm just like, wow, these people have the life. They just sit there in their fancy furniture and watch anime, and I'm just here.
They're in that awkward phase of like I'm a nerdy, like I'm a nerdy millennial, but now I'm becoming an adult and I care about the news, and but I still want to watch my animes.
They have two dogs, big dogs, like Rhodesian Ridgebacks, and normally they make no noise ever, but this morning they woke me up, and I'm like, what is going on? I thought I was dreaming. I'm like, why are there dogs? What's going on? And then I'm like, oh man, I have neighbors. That's right. I live in an apartment complex. So please pity me.
Because of dogs.
Because of dogs, dude. I will. You ever?
Is your finger better, by the way? I see the thing still on it.
I didn't know that I held it up to camera. No, dude. This is I'm spending literal more months with my fingers still fucked up. I'm supposed to basically have them strapped together for even longer. And the longer I strap them together, the tighter they go. So I need physical therapy, and I still might need surgery. It's really fucked up. Man, the doctor's like, hey, wear the splint 100% of the time. And I'm like, okay, I'll definitely do that. And then I realize more and more that I'm just lying to her because I'm not wearing it 100% of the time. And then I go back and I see her, and she's like, yeah, you've been wearing it all the time. I'm like, yeah, I have. Yeah. Because for some reason, lying about it seems better than being like, no, actually,
lying about your health.
I really didn't wear it 100% of the time. And my fingers never.
When I go to the dentist, man, I'm like, they ask you like, so how often do you floss? I'm very honest with them. Never. You should really do that. I'm like, listen, I'm not paying money through the American healthcare system for you to judge me. Now clean my teeth. Prevent these cavities that will eventually show up because I don't floss.
Dude, I find flossing works best for me if I floss in the car. I never really flossed until I got those little floss picks, like the ones that come in the little plastic thing pre-flossed. And I would do that on my morning commute. I would floss in traffic. And that was something that I can do like with my hands and my brain while I was otherwise doing nothing. That just made sense. And ever since then, that's kind of been my flossing routine. Because my mom was a dental hygienist. So I grew up around very strict teeth regimens. I have vivid memories of her watching me like with a timer being like, Joey, you said you didn't brush your teeth for long enough, so we're going to do it for 3 whole minutes. And she would just stand there and like watch the clock, and I'd be like, are we done yet? She's like, nope, it's only been 40 seconds. You got to brush for 3 minutes. I'm like, fuck, Mom.
I'm surprised that didn't turn you like completely against dental health.
It did, dude.
Like once you got out of the house, you were like, I'm never brushing my teeth.
My rebellious phase when I was like, I don't know, probably the beginning of middle school, I'm like, I'm just not going to take care of my teeth as much. Like, yeah, fuck you, Mom. You can't keep track how much I brush my teeth. I would like lie to her and say that I brushed my teeth, and then like she would check my toothbrush to see if it's wet, and she'd be like, you lied. So I would like intentionally like run the water in the sink, get my toothbrush wet, like put mouthwash in my mouth so my mouth would be vaguely minty enough, and then just try and fake brushing my teeth, which is a win for no one because I should brush my teeth. It's very important. And I'm glad that I eventually came around on that to be a normal dental hygienist human. And now I'm probably overly hygienist. I do long brush sessions. So I guess in the end she won, but there were a couple years where I was like super against it. Brushing my teeth in the shower is what got me to change my tune about that. I'm a big proponent of brushing your teeth in the shower because I'm going to spend
that's relaxing.
I'm going to spend so much time in the shower anyways. I want to take like 20-minute showers. I want to make sure the fish have no water left and that I ruin the world and have high water bills. But it's like an excuse. It's like I could trick myself. If I can just brush my teeth in the shower, then I can stay in the shower longer, and it's worth the punishment.
I like how we promised last week. It was like, well, because Cap's on vacation. This is short and sweet. We're not really talking about Dota, and then we just talked about like brushing our teeth for 15 minutes.
Dude, the thing is like I was preparing to come into today. I'm like, okay, we're going to record with Cap tonight. We're going to do a show. Going to post it tomorrow. I'm going to think of some things to say. I'm going to prepare myself. And then I've come in to potentially this episode the least prepared out of anyone that we've ever done. I've reached a new low, dude. Like, and I'm not proud about that. I'm not happy that I'm admitting that to shame myself. I am genuinely not wearing pants right now. Like, I didn't even like, I'm in my underwear. You can't see, but that's what's going on. Like, that's the level of how my day's been going. So
you had a bad day.
We've reached a new low, dude. I thought we weren't going to be able to record because I went to go boot up my the computer that we used to stream on and that I used to record on, and it just there's a spider coming down immediately in front of my face. It's so small. It's following its web down. Wow, it's going to end in my cup. Wow, I'm gonna have to cut that. That's actually this is not interesting. Wow, can you? I mean, there's no way you can see this. I'm holding it by the web. Oh.
No, I cannot.
It's so tiny. That's gross. What was I saying?
How is God saying?
I went to go.
Oh, your day is bad. How about a spider in your drink?
Kind of, yes. That's actually what's going on. I got to turn on the computer, and it just does the thing where when your hard drive doesn't work, and it just boots straight to BIOS, and it's like, hey, dude, there's no Windows here. And I'm like, you've got to be shitting me. We're supposed to record like 10 minutes ago. The amount of times that I tell Cap, like, don't worry, we'll record when I'm done with work, and then done with work turn goes from 6 to 7 to 8 to 8:15 to 8:20 to, I got to take a shit now. It's 8:30. It's too much. So I'm like, hey, like, you're just taking my word for it. But like, man, I was basically reinstalling Windows and switching hard drives.
It's okay. If I was, a normal functioning adult with a regular busy schedule, then, maybe I would actually be bothered. But I can't possibly be bothered. Why would I? What have I done today? All I did, you know what I did today, Joey? You know what I've done so far?
Did you go to Whole Foods?
No, I haven't left the house. On my very productive Monday, I played D&D for 4 hours.
Oh, that's good.
That's all I can say. That's all I've done with my life.
Did you paint your face green?
Did I paint my face green?
Because there appears to be green
like
body
to be
paint
orc?
behind you.
What?
On the shelf right behind you? Is there not green body paint?
That is
in front of Jakiro?
That is aloe.
Okay.
Aloe vera.
You got a sunburn.
For a sunburn.
Dude.
Yes. No, I don't dress up.
I didn't know if you were dressing up for D&D.
Like D&D. No. No, we don't.
Man, I used to vehemently fight the idea that I was a chronically late person. A lot of people in my family are just generally late to everything, and I kind of took it as a point of pride that I wasn't going to be that person. And I would find every reason to not be late and to be on time, but I would always end up like kind of being a little bit late, whether it be like, oh, I'm like showing up to a meeting a minute late that's like an online call, or oh, I'm just waking up later. Oh, you know what? I'm going to a party. I can be there like 20 minutes late. Let me finish this game at Dota, or let me queue for a game. It'll be 30 minutes. It's an hour long, and I'm like, oh well, I guess I'm just gonna be a little bit late. Who cares? And I think as I age on, I just decide to embrace the fact that I just have a problem with this because I haven't been able to fully fix it yet. And I feel like I'm giving up on it.
No, I know what you're talking about. I'm terrible. I'm terrible with timeliness. And whenever I tell that to people, they're always like, I remember the last time I had this conversation was with Ted, period. And he was like, what? You were in the army and all that, weren't you? I thought you were supposed to be timely. Did you get your butt kicked for not being there on time? And I was like, okay, yeah, I was there on time for that stuff, because the punishment was severe enough. And even then, I was distinctly remember being late a couple times. All my military experience really did. To be 100% honest, it didn't make me more of a timely person. All it did is increase the anxiety of when I know I'm going to be late. That's all it did. It didn't change my habits. It just made me more anxious about my bad habits.
One of my least favorite feelings, no exaggeration, is when I'm in a car and I'm in some type of traffic and I know that I am criminally cutting it close to the time I'm supposed to be somewhere, and it's like relatively important, whether it's like just the start of a work day or like a meeting or anything, and you're like, I'm either going to be on time or I'm going to be like 3 minutes late, or I might be like 10 minutes late. And the feeling of anxiety that causes of like, what is my excuse for this? I can't just say that I'm a piece of shit. Why am I late? No. What's going on? And then that argument that I have in my head for the entire time leading up to knowing that I'm going to be late to actually arriving is torture. But I continue to torture myself like that because I just let these things happen. I know that I don't like it.
Why do we do this to ourselves?
I don't know, man.
Well, I can at least say that I've gotten a lot better with it over the last 4 or 5 years. So maybe as you get older, Joey, when you reach an old gentlemanly age like me, you'll have grown out of your bad habits. But I think it's just mostly just because of my casting job, because there are similar like anxieties of like, what are the consequences of if I'm late? You know, if I'm late to a broadcast, well, the broadcast is starting with or without me. So
exactly.
What do I do about that? But like, I have gotten better about it. I think eventually all that anxiety and all the bad feelings, especially if, because like we're oftentimes traveling in groups, like I'm making my friends wait. That has slowly but certainly beaten me down to a point that I've gotten much, much better at it.
Yeah, it's easier to do it when you're trying to like impress other people or when you really have a reason to be somewhere on time. But if I know that there's zero consequences,
yeah,
like if I'm just gonna go see my friends for drinks or something, there's no reason why I'm like, oh, God, I gotta be 15 minutes early. It's like I'll probably be 10 minutes late, and that's fine. I'll be okay.
When I worked at the paper warehouse, man, I was late all the time, constantly. Because our work time was from 7:30 to 4:30. I believe that's how it went. So we were supposed to clock in at 7:30, and we wrapped up at 4:30. Should be out the door by 4:30, anyways. But we didn't actually start loading paper until 8. Knowing that, I would only show up at like 7:50. Because for me, I hate wasting time in that regard, especially if it means I can get more sleep. I hate just sitting there and just being like, okay, I got here at 7:15, time to wait 45 minutes for my job to actually start. Like, oh my
Fuck that.
God, get me out. And my boss, like, he brought me to the office one time and he was like, you never get here at 7:30. You know, you get paid starting at 7:30. And I was like, I'm fine with starting to get paid at 8. That's what I said. Instead of going, you're right, I understand, I should show up at 7:30. That's how much I hate just wasting time like that. I was like, you could take a half hour off.
It's a real big dick energy move. That's like, how does he respond to that? He's like, well, be earlier.
He was like, no, he was like, that's not how that works. Be here earlier from now on. I was like, okay, Jim.
Thanks, Jim. Appreciate it, Jim.
Yeah. Thank God I eventually got out of that job because I did not set myself up for a ton of success. I mean, I was a good employee. Like, here's the thing: is that like while I was not very timely, in my early 20s and teenage years of being there on time, what I always was down to work more. So I think that really bought me a lot of brownie points. Anytime like, oh, hey, sorry guys, we have something like I'm always down to work more. What I don't like doing is waiting around to work. I've always hated that.
I mean, it's funny because oftentimes you go work on sets now, and a lot of times when you're working on sets, it's just waiting to work.
Oh God, I hate it when a tournament organizer gets me there like 4 hours early. You know, I can totally forgive like getting me there an hour early. I understand production. Like I'm in a privileged position as talent. I'm there later. I arrive later than the production people, and I leave earlier than the production people.
Yep.
I understand that, so I try very hard not to be like, why am I? I understand that me being there causes a lot of peace to the people working behind the scene. You know, the talent handler isn't like sitting there worrying, is that person going to show up? That reflects badly on me. You know, I want them to be okay. So I'm totally fine. An hour and a half, 2 hours is a little bit much for the start of a show, but like, okay, I get it. But they're like, be here 4 hours early. I'm just like, why? Why wasting my time like this? Like, come on,
You're
man.
just gonna sit in a green room with your friends and like eat.
Yeah,
which is like
they're like, I promised you, like, there's no prep that I do in that period of time. All the prep that I've done long before. I have been very, very prepared up until that point in time, and there's no rehearsal I need to do. Like everything is just, I get up on stage, the camera goes on, and I start talking. And I just flow from there. There's no like preparation before that.
Man, God, that's pretty funny. I watch so much of, because that's really how sets work with talent, and even not with talent. Like I'm interested in people who can get to a job and then just be like, "Well, I'm okay, just hanging out." And I always appreciate people who do want to work more. I think that's something that like probably my dad beat the fuck into me. And then I recognize that as like a quality that I have, so I like to see it in other people. And when I see someone else who will like work extra hours or volunteer themselves for stuff or just like go above and beyond, that definitely puts someone in my good graces pretty quickly, to see someone who's like taking the extra steps.
Oh, I told a tournament organizer something of that recently, because we were talking about like the tournament and stuff like that, and we we're talking about like how the shifts are going to work, who's going to be there, and I was like, look, between you and me, you know something's going to go wrong, right? It's like, you know this isn't going to work out the way you think it's going to. It's not going to work out that way, you know? And I was like, just so you know, like, I'm down to cover some shifts. I know how it's going to be. That's totally fine. It's all good. Because it's just, I'm always down to work later into the day. I'm always down to work more hours. Just don't make me get there early, please.
Yeah.
I hate that
I'd
part.
always rather work later than start earlier.
Yeah.
Maybe that's some kind of weird gamer hours we keep.
Yeah, that probably
has something to do with it.
I want to get to this email real quickly before too many people are asking when are they actually going to talk about Dota? I have to talk about this email. I keep on thinking about it.
You teased me this afternoon. You're like, dude, I got an email and I have to share it. And you didn't tell me what it is, so I have no idea what you're going to talk about. But the amount of giddy you are for it is just kind of exciting to me.
I mean, I think I'm getting too excited for it. But for me, this just, it hits my funny bone. I find this stuff very funny. But I didn't post it on social media because I know it's inherently going to come with some baggage that I just don't really want to bring up, either for myself, for other people, for whatever,
Gotcha.
But talking it here on this podcast, there's a degree of separation,
Okay.
So I get this email early today. Title of the email: Dota 2 caster Toby Wan accused of sexual harassment.
Okay, we're off to a really strong start.
That's the topic of the email. I see that. I immediately think, it must be some sort of investigative, it must be a journalist, right? That's my first thought. Some sort of, investigative journalist who's trying to get more information onto what happened with the Me Too movement going on in Dota, right?
Yep.
That sounds like the most reasonable reason an email starts with that title, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd probably put inquiry or interview request or something in the title. But okay, let's go for it.
And so I open it thinking okay, I'm a little bit surprised because there's just no investigative journalism in Dota. The only news that happens in Dota is things are reported that are announced by talent, tournament organizers, players. They say something on social media, and websites will just take that, put it into an article and say, this thing happened. And then a brief amount of context into why, link to the tweet, go on from there, right? There's no actual investigative journalism of talking to people behind the scenes, developing sources, anything like that. Maybe Dota 2 is just boring. I don't know. But
it's like that in most gaming and esports, but
Yeah. So I was like, that's interesting. I wonder who this could be. And this is kind of late into the game, but okay. First line, this is where it already goes wrong. Hi, Toby.
Oh, no.
Addressed to the email dotacapitalist@gmail.com.
Okay, yeah, okay, got it.
So it's starting wrong.
Also, could you, this person, if they think they're emailing Toby, is starting it with that subject line? What?
I don't know.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Hi, Toby. When people Google Toby Wan, this negative link shows up on page 1 of your search results. Link to an article by AFK Gaming. Article is about the sexual harassment stuff and is the aforementioned journalism that we're talking about. Mm-hmm. As we adjust to this new normal, more people than ever are cooped up at home and on their devices. Google is the first place people go to learn about someone. Unfortunately, a negative first impression like this often leads to a lost business opportunities, in addition to the ongoing embarrassment that individuals and their family members all feel in these situations. We're an Inc. 500 ranked digital agency that specializes in pushing negative content off page 1 to ensure that searchers see you in the best light possible when doing their research. How? We'll replace your negative search results with high quality content on prominent websites. Building up your personal brand to establish you as a thought leader in your industry. We'll also work to push up existing assets that cast you in a positive light. We've successfully completed projects for many prominent figures in situations just like yours, and I'd love to spend 5 to 10 minutes explaining how we can put this negative content in the past where it belongs. If this interests you, let me know your availability for a quick phone call, and I'll explain more. Thanks in advance. List the person's name.
Oh man, that's. So did you call him? No.
I responded.
Oh no.
I just
You
responded.
could have deleted it.
Because the thing is that I clicked on the article too, which links me as one of the people. Like it very clearly lists me as like one of the people who says the things that I said. I just responded, well, that's awkward.
Oh.
He responds, apologies, Austin. I was clearly given the wrong contact information. ... Regardless. Really? I mean, this is a pretty embarrassing moment. I mean, you're contacting me as an agency in order to basically cover up negative news with more positive news for somebody
Yeah,
who
makes
had
sense.
very, very negative news come out about them recently. And the person you happen to be contacting is the person on the other side of that news, first of all, very clearly opposed to the person you're trying to contact. Then on top of that, there is the embarrassment of also just putting an email like this and addressing it to dotacapitalist@gmail.com
I can't
and starting
believe.
the email, hi, Toby1. You clearly have no idea who Toby1 is. You clearly have no idea who I am. And you are just venturing into esports trying to fish for whatever business you can get. So that's embarrassing. And then the third embarrassment of just this in general. Obviously, I understand that publishers and like media consultants and all those sorts of things exist. I understand that esports will eventually go that way. But it's also not a terribly good light for anybody's, just having this interaction,
Yeah. Dude.
And so there's the third problem of me just like you just putting this email to the wrong person. Like I just put it out there in public. Well, then that just looks weird, What if I had implied with this email, like, oh, look, this person's trying to cover up bad business that they've done or something in the past. What if I use that email for malicious purposes instead of the hilarity that I find it is,
Yeah, this is like, kind of big business. Like I assume that they're, this is all over the place. Normally I think you think of it in the context in like Hollywood agencies being like fixers for people and not just like.
Yeah, they're a real company too. I looked them up. Status Labs is their name.
Dude, what a fucking shitty ass business model. It probably makes them money. There's a reason why someone's doing that. I cannot believe they responded back to you. I would have just I cannot believe they responded back to you after you're like, ooh.
Okay, but here's the really funny part I find. Like that is just like my response. That's like really funny. But here's the part that like really convinced me to come out like to talk about this on the podcast is just the fucking unbelievable nerve of this person to finish this email with. I would have been like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. This was clearly a mix up. I totally, please understand this was not meant for you, whatever. But instead, that person, brief apology. I was given the wrong contact information. Not like, obviously, it goes past that because you don't know who I am. You don't know who Toby is.
Is he going to do one of the like, hey, if you ever need me, here's my card?
Right on the money, Joey. Regardless. I do see this article appearing on your first page of search, so let me know if you'd like to have a conversation. Insert another news article, this one being Dota 2 caster has unfortunate slip up with team name at Dream League, aka Nigma. Attaching an overview of our wider portfolio of reputational services for your reference, should it be of use. Thank you for your understanding. And again, very sorry about the mix-up. Signed, insert person's name.
Dude, I mean, they got you there. They have a service for you, dude. They have a service. They're the thing is, are they wrong? They can clean that, man.
They could clean that up for me. Like, oh my god, dude, what is wrong with this person? Like how would you possibly feel like you could be in charge of creating a better image for me as a personality when A, you don't know who I am as a person? Clearly, you've showcased that. B, you've showcased your incompetence directly to me. And C, you're trying, when all this mix-up happens, you try to weirdly upsell me or like find a different customer, a new customer opportunity by putting like my name in there and being like, well, there must be dirt everywhere, you know, and being like, remember that time you said Nigma incorrectly? Well, we have a solution for that.
He's like, man, I hit the gold mine. He's like, I got a way out of this. Don't you worry.
Oh my god.
Dude, that's
the best part was it took him 7 minutes to respond. So 5 minutes of that was him seeing this email going, oh shit, and then immediately putting Dota capitalist into Google.
Man.
Reading up on some articles. There we go. That's how I get him.
I wonder if he then proceeded to go also message, Suns fan and everyone else too. He's like, I got a whole new line of inquiry. I didn't even know about this. And you've spurred emails to everyone else. Dude, what a
unbelievable, man. The industry leader in reputation management, Status Labs.
Dude. Status Labs sounds like God.
I totally understand. Like the example that we're putting forward here is like a little bit shitty, but I totally understand there is a need for people to maintain digital reputations.
Yeah.
I totally get that. It's kind of a weird business, but I totally understand why it's a business. I could see where esports will need that sort of thing eventually. But as it stands right now, like what's kind of shitty about this is that what I think is cool about esports right now is that it just fucking reeks of authenticity through and through from the players, from the talent, from those sort of things. Like you have to actually be authentic one way or another to be able to survive in this business. And this is one of the least authentic things you can kind of do in a way. Like I understand there's probably a way to like still utilize that service, but I just can't see how I could use it. I don't know.
I think it's a whole trend, just I guess with the younger millennials and the Zoomers in general, because you see it with esports, you see it with digital media in a lot of senses. It's like if people aren't like real and available and on some kind of social media where you can in theory interact with them, like it doesn't matter anymore. Like you have to have that nugget of realism. And it's great that esports reeks of it. And I think a lot of people, when they see money coming into esports, is just scared of the opposite happening, right? It's like, we're going to get all corporatized and then we're going to be the NFL and I'm going to have to go do my big money shilling thing. So I'm interested to see how that evolves, over the next 5-10 years and if how much of that we can keep versus how much of the trajectory we hit where we do just become the NFL, the NBA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. The weird part is that like these sort of services, it's weird with esports because like I know I'm not a big enough personality and very likely will never be to need something like this. Like I will never need that kind of management because I will never be big enough to be able to have that many fans for my personal brand. But even if I was at the point that I become, at the point that I am a potential consumer of their product, I simultaneously have a more powerful platform than they do. If I want to do something about my brand, I will have the platform to do that, whether that is social media, whether that is Twitch, whatever it is, I will very likely have a tool that I could utilize much better than they could, right? Because whatever ideas that they have when understanding the algorithm of Google and search engine optimization and things like that, things that like I don't know, right? like, so it's weird, but the internet is a crazy tool. Like the internet fame that is out there, as blunt of a tool as it can be, it is much stronger tool than their understanding of algorithms and how to be able to replace the best news.
Man, the people who do want their service, I imagine if you're like someone who really needs that type of stuff, if you're like, a top tier celebrity and in any regard, new media or old media, surely there's better people to handle the stuff too. Like that's a whole shadow industry in and of itself through agents and agencies and people who are really good professional PR people for all these things. Surely you just don't want to take a cold call from media company X who's like, hey, you want me to clean Google for you? Because they might be able to help, but like, I don't know who their base consumer is. Maybe it really is someone who is a Toby who's like, kind of in the middle and can say something but can't say something but has a social presence but doesn't. I just wonder how much business they actually do and who their core client is, because it feels weird. If you're too small, who cares? If you're too big, there's better options.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of it is just like traditional media types, like actors and stuff. Sure, they have their own social media platforms, but I don't really believe they have the connection to their fan base that like esports people do,
Yeah.
Whereas esports and then also gaming culture as well. Like if you are that big in gaming, what you probably have is a big Twitch channel, or you probably have a big YouTube channel or Facebook, right? It's like you have something that, is a tool much greater than. So yeah, I think it's probably just traditional media such as actors and then probably companies as well.
Yeah. Well, I'll just keep calling you Toby One. Hey Toby. Hey Toby One. You want to move on to the next? Hey Toby. What's the next topic? Did you enjoy your little vacation? Did you have a good time?
Did I enjoy my vacation?
Did you have a good time on the beach?
I did. So what happened is that LA closed up again. So what happened here in LA is that LA is trying to open her business. She's trying to open her studio, and she was in the process of opening it when LA shut down the first time. And then it reopened for a very short period of time, and she was still in the process of opening it, and then it shut back down again. And I said, well, screw it. Let's take a break here. So we rented a car and went on a road trip so we could stay away from people. And we took a road trip from LA up to just north of the Portland area, stayed with my mom for the weekend, and then road tripped back down. And then on the way back down, we were supposed to stay at a beach resort, which the resort that I found, I thought was going to be like combination of a decent enough place to be able to stay while simultaneously not popular enough to be like have a beach that's like packed with people, because then at that point in time I'm not going outside. So I was like, okay, but like it looks like this area I'll be able to socially distance away. I
feel like
people.
There's a but coming.
But the rooms were pretty garbage, and Ellie and I weren't really interested in staying there. So we didn't. So we drove down farther down the coast, and then we eventually found a different place to stay, and stayed there for a night, and then drove the rest of the way down the coast. It was a beautiful drive. You're absolutely right. That whole coast drive, was it Highway 1 or is that 101?
The Highway 1, PCH.
Yeah, I know there's there's 101 and 1 both in that area. But yeah,
they're the same freeway for a certain stretch of road.
And we stopped and we saw the elephant seals. They are hilarious. I love them.
I saw you tweeted about them.
It was just battling constantly. It was great.
I'm happy they're there. I'm happy you got to drive down PCH. It's genuinely one of like the California pleasures that I try and recommend to people if they have the bandwidth to, if they either live here, because even a lot of people I feel like who live here just have never done it, and it's definitely worth the time if you're able to do it. And people who travel, like, it's such a there's very few drives like that literally in the world. Where it's just fucking pretty and you're up so high and you see the ocean for like hours.
And there's so few people actually taking that drive, at least when I went anyway. It didn't feel like there was very many people. Maybe it's because it's such a commitment, right? It's like you enter on this side and you get out on this side and you are locked in. And so it's definitely a very touristy. Well, I'm not even sure touristy is the right word because it's kind of out of the way in the first place.
Yeah, it's like niche touristy. I think a lot of people try and go to Big Sur, and they find themselves taking PCH, or like they want to go to Monterey and they take PCH to Monterey, and they're like, "Oh, look at me! I'm in Big Little Lies."
But yeah, well, there's so many great places to park and to like just a little bit of sightseeing and just like because it's basically for those who haven't seen it. I mean, you could Google it, but what a lot of it is these sort of cliffs with the ocean down on the side. There's a fair number of like really nice beaches, but I think the coolest sites for me anyway was the various because it's sort of mountainous region just a little bit east to it. So very often you have these sort of cliff sort of types matched up right up against the ocean, and you're driving right along that side almost the entire way. And so it's really cool. And there's lots of little areas to pull over and look around.
There's parts of that road where if you're driving southbound, you're up against the side of the ocean, which is the way you were driving. And there's parts where you, if you're in the passenger seat of that car, you're probably 10 feet away, if not less than like 100 a foot drop off a sheer cliff face.
Yeah, you got to trust your driver with your life there.
Which is wild. Also, like, most of the time, when I think of beaches, I think about like, you know, the more traditional beach you see where everything's kind of already sea level. It kind of levels off to the beach. And I think the first time that I really saw like a sheer cliff face that goes to the ocean was when I drove down PCH. And it's wild because it's like, wow, that's just like 300 feet straight down into water. There's no beach there. Like, how did this happen? Isn't the earth wild? Big
we did. There are some actual beaches that you can actually access the farther you go down. In fact, there was one area that was just sort of like a pullover, and you had to climb down a little bit, not very much. You had to climb down just a little bit to get onto the beach. And everybody I saw there was probably like 5 cars there. They all got out of their car and were looking down, but nobody actually went down onto the beach. And I looked for signs. I was like, "Are we not allowed on the beach? Is this okay?"
You wouldn't want to break anything,
so I was like, "All right, well, I'm gonna climb down there." And so Ellie and I climbed down there, and we had the entire beach to ourselves for, we were only there for like 20 minutes, but she got some really good pictures. She brought her camera with us. So yeah,
it stank. I'm glad that you had a nice trip. I think I'm looking to be due for one. I think that after the week, or like I think after July, I think I'm really going a little bit stir crazy, and I just need to
you seem like you need a vacation. You're working too hard.
I need to do something. I think my vacation time has been spent like just playing games. Like I've been playing more Dota than I have in years over the course of this battle pass. And that's like what I've been doing to kind of keep sane in lieu of actually going and seeing people and having human connection, which has been great. There's some people in the guild who we've played a lot of guild games with who have become really fun people. So that's been a good time just to kind of fuck around and actually have that. But I think that I need to just like take my car and drive somewhere, and not like 20 minutes somewhere, like a couple hours somewhere, and I don't fucking know do what, but just to like get away and fucking find a Motel 6 and do whatever you do in a Motel 6, I guess.
Well, I am yes, that's exactly what you do in a Motel 6. I have in the opposite part of my life right now where I haven't really done anything in a while. ESL was a long time ago. And so I have just been doing nothing, but I am about to get back to working. We got the Epicenter / WePlay event coming up. So I am going to be heading over to Ukraine to work on that. So
in like 2 weeks, right? You got to take a big old airplane flight. Can you get direct LAX to Kiev?
Not direct to Kiev, but I do. I think I have a stop sign. I don't remember. But yeah, Ukraine is like one of the few places that is still allowing Americans, and they are going to be. We're going to be pretty safe about it. So apparently, the schedule is that like we get there and then we get coronavirus tested and we're quarantined in our hotels in for like 2 days or something until the results come back, and then we start work a few days later. I don't know. It's not like, again, it's not the most responsible thing in the world, but like, it's one of those things. It's it sucks, but it's like you kind of gotta throw up the like, I need to make money. There's an inherent risk involved. You just kind of go with it,
It's also not the least risky thing in the world, too. Like, I mean, you're going there, you're going to be with the same group of people. Once you get there, you're not going to be going out. Like, it's just the from here to there that is dangerous. But if everyone's getting tested and then kind of quarantining in like a production bubble together, that's really not the worst thing. Like, it's not it's not the best case scenario, but like it should be worth it. Obviously, you said yes.
I had no problem with working at ESL and BTS and stuff, because like almost everybody that was there was able to drive into work, and we're in a bubble in that regard, and like we only see each other. And I know all of those people there, they weren't seeing people beforehand. They're a bunch of gamers. They're sitting in their house. I know BSJ was sitting in his house streaming every single day. I saw his stream on every night.
You guys should have a betting pool for whoever gets coronavirus first.
Oh, that's I should have a death pool.
Yeah, you guys should have a death pool for the talent for whoever gets coronavirus.
Well, I definitely have somebody in mind who
I don't know if
does get sick more often than others.
Yeah, I don't know if the talent list is revealed, but there's also someone that I'm thinking about, so maybe I can't say it now. But
yeah, talent list isn't revealed, but I just can't be bothered to hold on to these secrets. They said they're announcing soon. I'm just like, all right, well.
Is there
I thought about it 5 minutes ago, and I was like, they said they're releasing soon. Well, hope they release by the time this podcast goes out. But honestly, I don't think anyone cares enough.
Well, we know you're going.
Make a Reddit post. Caps going to replay. And like, nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, that's going to get beat out by the, hey guys, I drew Anti-Mage again. That'll be a more popular post, honestly.
Yeah, probably should be.
Is there probably? I mean, your thing isn't really news. It's like barely news. It's good esports journalism. There'll be a score article about it. Is there like a contingency plan for if someone does test positive?
I don't know. I presume pause. I presume they are quarantined in their hotel, and the rest of us have to work extra shifts. I'm sure there is a plan B in the regard of, okay, if this becomes a thing, then the whole production is kiboshed, and we all quarantine our hotels, or actually apartments. They're getting us apartments. And then they just cast it online.
Yeah, I wonder, like, because worst case for you, like you fly over there, you get sick, you can't work, and then they're like, hey, we're not going to pay you fully. And you're like, whoa.
Oh, no. I still get paid even if I get sick.
Great.
That's how that is how all of my stuff works. I have never had a Dota talent get sick and not get paid for their work. It gets covered by other Dota talent. It's a stress on the other talent, but ultimately, like, we all cover for each other anyway. Like, I know, like, if I get sick and other people have to cover for me, like, I don't feel bad at all because I've covered so many people in my time. Like,
yeah, you just
y'all can spot me.
Just pay it forward.
Yeah, what comes around goes around, like, in these sort of things, right? It's like it's like when you go out to dinner in a group like this of like working professionals as well. Like, one of us will cover the bill. Nobody really keeps track. We all just kind of assume that we're going to be fair to each other, and
we gotta go.
It'll eventually all circle around.
We got to go back to dinner more so I can really take advantage of that. Anywho, sorry, I don't know what came over me there. God, you're right. You said it earlier that we talked about last episode capped on a phone. It doesn't sound too great. We'll just keep it short. Then we'll come back and we'll talk about the patch. And I have an update. It's been 50 minutes. We didn't do that, and I don't think we're gonna do that. So I think
we could do it real quickly. Trust me,
real quickly.
I could do it real quickly.
That's how much.
Because I've only played Dota for 2 days. Okay, I actually went back. I haven't played Dota for a month and a half regularly. Okay, of course, like I played a little bit of Aghanims before I went on vacation. I played like a little bit of Party Queue here and there, but it's been a month and a half since I've grinded rank like I always do.
It's a good break. It's a real solid break.
Yeah. And so I've only played for 2 days, so I can tell you everything that I've done with Dota, which is very little, which is that Doom seems OP. It seems really powerful to have heroes that can be like carry heroes that can be involved in kills in some way. I think Spectre is like one of the most notorious ones because I feel like for B, you get so much gold out of kills right now. I played against Brax and we almost lost. We were down against Mega Creeps and against Brax, and he was playing Spectre, and he got so farmed so quickly. We were winning the game, and then we lost like one team fight, and he was a part of a few ganks or something. And next thing you know, I see him, and he's got like Manta Diffusal Butterfly or something. I'm just like, what the hell? How did he get so farmed? He had a bad game, or at least he started off with a bad game. But so heroes like that feel really strong. And yeah, I watched like one professional game. I think I watched Viking GG versus OG game 2 this morning. That was, well, it didn't go the way that Immortal Faith wanted it to. The coach of Viking GG, who said that they were going to crush OG.
Yeah,
instead they got 2-0'd.
From my experience down in the trenches, I don't think people have adjusted to how much kills and deaths matter and will give money to the other team. So I see a lot of people still playing like super fast and loose and like being like, it doesn't matter, I'm just an offlaner who died 8 times because I was creating space or like getting XP or whatnot. But people haven't fully realized like, wow, I just gave an infinity amount of gold to someone else.
Yeah. Well, you say that though. I also watched No Tail. I was watching the game with T Governor, and I was just asking him questions because obviously I don't really know the meta right now. And I was like, I know kills are worth more. And I was like, but does it matter how much does it matter if you're a 5 position compared to like a 2 position or 3 position and you're dying a lot? Because No Tail decided he would die 9 times in 20 minutes as Undying. I think he died like 4 times in the first 6 minutes of the game or something like that.
As Undying? That's really impressive.
Machine. He died so many times, but they still own that game. So I don't know if that's No Tail flavor or if that's OG flavor or if that says something about the way you're able to play 5 position. I'm not entirely sure. I have no clue right now. I still have to study up. But yeah. Oh, drafting also seems a little the first 4 bans. I don't remember what my opinion was. I think my opinion was front loading bans meant we were going to see a wider hero diversity. I think that was my idea.
Yeah.
Instead, it just makes drafting look really, really simplistic and not very interesting when it comes to setting up your first pick. Because you know what people do now? Is those first 4 bans, they just take like one hero, like, what do we want to pick? And they're like, all right, let's ban 3 of the counters to that hero. Like, okay. That seems really inelegant. So I don't know. Maybe it'll develop into something better, but for right now, just my very, very brief initial impression of it, not a fan.
Is Doom good because the extra gold on Devour now?
Yeah, it's like a bit of flavor to run it mid in NA right now, and it's made its way over to Europe. I think Viking GG have played it mid. I know it was banned against them anyway in today's game, but yeah, it's like I think it's a couple things. First of all, getting the Devour leveled up pretty quickly feels really good. So if you can get a solo lane like mid, fantastic. The regen that you get out of level 2 Devour is a lot and allows you to be able to mid against tough matchups. And then a third thing that I know it feels really good right now from my own experience playing it off lane is having both level 10 and level 15 be Scorched Earth talents. Whereas before they were opposing at level 10, you could either get movement speed or damage, pick one. Now you can get movement speed at 10 and damage at 15. And so you feel like a mid-game beast. On top of that, one more thing, Drums heroes are inherently good right now. T-Governor made a good point today to show that OG in both their games today have 2 Drums cores. That's how good Drums is right now, is that they made sure that they had 2 cores that were able to buy Drums, and both of them did buy Drums in game 1 and game 2. So,
Why?
And Doom is one of the best Drums heroes in the game, so.
I had a Drums game, or I had a Doom game the other day as an offlaner, and it was just pretty fun because I felt so rich. I'm like, man, I have so much money, and I'm so speedy. I have no idea. I couldn't tell you why Drums is good though.
It's very stat efficient, and the active is really good. It fits for OG's team fighting playstyle. So I think that is a little bit of flavor for them specifically, but I think the active is really good, and it's back to being a pretty stat efficient item. Like the buildup feels very good, especially for someone like Doom. And then another thing about this patch I noticed, because neutral creeps got stronger, like it's more effective to farm neutral creeps comparatively to last patch, because lane creeps got nerfed, the amount of gold that you get from that. So naturally neutral creeps become more value. Well, as expected, heroes like Doom, who use neutral creep farm, and then heroes that like farm just generally quickly. And so like TB, Spectre, Anti-Mage, I think are 3 of the carriers that I've seen the most. All 3 of those spend like dedicated times jungling. So I think that's another example. Both of them, all of them have farming mechanisms. And then like AM goes for like Battle Fury and was one of the most notorious timing carries in the game, right? Where he just AFKs for 30 minutes and then he comes out and is ready to fight.
I also played a Terrorblade game, and I didn't quite read the patch notes on Metamorphosis, not slowing you anymore. And I was like, whoa, this is wild. I'm so quick. I get really excited when heroes have high move speed. That's what I've learned about myself. It's like, whoa, this is so much fun. That's why I also like playing Luna. I'm like, whoa, she's so quick.
Do you also like Gyrocopter for that reason? Because that is one of my favorite. I hate playing carry, but when I do, like Gyrocopter is one of my heroes because you run around, you just kill shit. That's what your job is.
I don't like Gyrocopter too much because he just feels like such dog shit lately, but I do love that about Razor. I love playing Razor, and then someone's being like, "Oh, hey, I'm gonna gank you." Then I'm like, "No, you're not. I have 150 more move speed than you. I'm gonna walk away." It's just fun.
I bet Razor might still feel good with the static link change, and then plus he's a Drums hero, and his active is very good with Drums with static link as well. So I wonder if he is going to come back at all. I haven't thought about him.
Yeah. I should try some Razor out. I'll let you know after I'm done grinding all my bad cavern heroes, which is like, hey guys, I gotta play like a puck game, and I don't know how to play the hero, so just carry me. Oh man, I had someone play Chen recently who didn't dominate a creep for like 30 minutes.
Also, what level of Aghanims did you get to?
I have beaten the first one like 10 times, and I haven't even played the second one.
Do you just like winning? Is that it? Like what?
Yeah, I keep on playing with
you
people.
Don't want the challenge.
I keep on playing with people who are like playing for the first time. So I'm doing a lot of shepherding. I'm like a Sherpa who's getting people up the mountain to the voice lines. I want to make sure that everyone is friends who want to skirmish in every game we play. So I'm just getting everyone up to there. And then
they go on to get a different party to do 2, 3, and 4. They go to the promised land that you can never go to.
Yeah, exactly. I never can go all the way. I'm just stuck in freshman year of high school. No, I need to start playing too. I got I'm like 1 or 2 games away from maxing out the Agi tree and getting the damage. So I've been playing a lot of Ursa and Sniper. Ursa's inherently more fun, but Sniper's just like, hey, I'm gonna carry you through the game now.
All right, so here's a thought process that I probably should have discussed before the show, but since I literally just had it, what do you think about doing game reviews on this podcast? Very short and sweet. Because
Okay.
I've been playing other games. I don't know, like I'm sure you play some other games outside of Dota.
Dude, I I play a fuck ton of other games, dude. I played all of Ghost of Tsushima and I played The Last of Us Part 2, like all collectively in the last
Actually, I don't know why I'm saying you have
played-
another podcast that is literally dedicated to talking about games. Why am I saying this?
Dude, I'm arguably better at doing that than I am at talking about Dota, for sure. So
All right.
I mean,
All right, let's make this an end cap. Sometimes I don't know if I'll always be able to do it, but the only reason I was thinking about that is because I played a game today that just came out today called Other Side. It looks sick. It looks so good. Yeah, I was so excited. It's got noir elements. It's a tactics game, and then
Okay.
it also has roguelike elements into it. That is my nerd boner trinity right there. That is. I was like, holy shit! I didn't know they made a game just for me, but they did.
What?
And then I played it, and it's the first game I think I've ever Steam refunded in my life.
I tried to do that recently with something. What did you say is your nerd boner trinity for? It's roguelike,
Noir, tactics, and roguelike.
Noir tactics and noir. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can find anything interesting for you. Surely
Okay.
with those three, I can probably pitch you some things that you might be into. Because I like getting into the back catalog because I'll play the AAA games. I can fuck with talking about and complaining about Last of Us Part 2 for a minute, but I'm also big into into the smaller titles. So
Okay, that's what will make this segment then. It fuck AAA games because I don't play AAA games. I pretty much only play indie games because I need something that is my side bitch. Dota is my main bitch. I need a side game.
You a side game?
Something to be able to play on the side. So indie games are always that for me. So I was a big fan of Binding of Isaac, for example. That was my side game for a really long time.
I'll come at you. I'll come at you with something next week. I'll pitch you a couple things.
So that was my shitty game, by the way. I've got a good game.
You have a good game too? Oh, I thought you only had a bad story.
That was my shitty game. Other Side with a C. Don't play it. I rated a C. I played like 2 hours. I could already feel it being repetitive. So don't buy that. But do buy Deep Rock Galactic. Holy shit, that game is so fun. If you are a fan of Left 4 Dead, this is that, except for with late game progression content, and you're a dwarf fighting aliens and mining minerals on alien planets. Also, it's what's the term? Randomly generated dungeons or whatever that term is.
Oh God! Wow, this is embarrassing now. It's on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah. We're professional game reviewers.
Procedurally generated. It's procedurally generated. Thank you. I had to get there.
That's exactly. So yeah, like every single dungeon is different every single time you play, and it makes it really fun. It's great to play in a 4-stack, but it also can be fun just to play solo. But playing in a 4-stack is so much fun. I'm having really good times with this. So I put in 33 hours over the last 2 weeks, I would say.
Dude, I saw you on that game on Steam, and I'm like, what is that? And then I just didn't investigate.
It's fun, man. You got to check it out.
Man, okay, I'll come with some shit next time, or I'll get you some recommendations. I'm in the middle of trying to grind the new Paper Mario game because I'm a masochist. So that's...
Oh, it's bad? You're not enjoying it?
I mean... I love the original Paper Mario game so much. I was such a big fan of the N64 one in Thousand Year Door that it's just been a progressive downward slide for Mario-based RPGs for the last, 10 plus years. That to have something new that is like really pretty and pretty thoughtful and still written well, but just not what I want is fucking painful.
Rough.
Yeah, I know. But there is, there's a game called Bug Fables that is like... it's inspired by old Paper Mario games. It plays almost exactly like them. That I highly recommend to people who are after that kind of experience. It doesn't have the same, the same joy of what Mario brings just by inherently being Mario and having all that baggage and that world and that lore. But it does a really good job at everything else. It was like made by a couple of Brazilian dudes. It's like super cool.
Okay. I will get that for the Switch before I fly to Kiev, and then I'll get
if you're into games
Mario
like that,
Rabbids as well.
yeah, you should.
That'll itch both, like a crossover. Still get my Mario itch while simultaneously getting a little bit of Paper Mario.
Did you like the original Paper Mario games?
I played only the first one. It was a long time ago, but I do remember liking it. Yeah.
Yeah, you should try Bug Fables. Would recommend. Okay. Go indie games. But until that happens, I think we'll do another show before you leave to Kiev, and then we'll figure out everything else that happens after that in the future, because you're going to be gone for a minute. But that's not a right now us problem. That's a later us problem, and I don't need to think about that. I need to go play more Paper Mario. So.
Yeah, as we already established, we're bad at timeliness, and also we're procrastinators, which is another time issue. So it just compounds on each other.
Bad at timeliness, really good at not procrastinating. Current situation notwithstanding. Because I do have to say goodbye to the podcast, say goodbye to you, put it on a hard drive, walk over to my other computer, edit it. That's going to take a minute. And then
don't forget my Attack on Titan theme song, just to add another half an hour to your editing process.
It's right in the morning. It's right at the beginning. That's fine. I'm just gonna go have another coffee and try and have dinner because it is 9:00. So the podcast will go live in 6 hours. That's more than enough time. I got this. I fucking got this. Okay, everybody.
Please can do it, Joey.
Please tweet at me and say how appreciative you are of the quick 6 hour turnaround, which is entirely on me for doing the show today and not yesterday. But that's fine. We don't have to talk about that. Man, thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We will be back next week with some stuff and some things before We Play happens. Don't leak the fact that Cap leaked that he's going, because I don't know. And yeah, let's play some more. Let's play some more Aghanim's Labyrinth. Have you finished level 2?
No, I went on vacation like the day after it came out. So
okay, so we can play.
And now I'm behind, so I'm like not really motivated to play it because I'm not one of the first ones to get to 4. So it's kind of like whatever at that point in time, you know.
Well, I guess I'll rank up, and then I'll carry you again. I'll Sherpa you up the levels.
Oh, thank you.
I'm here to help everybody. Thank you. If you like the show, press the fucking follow button on the podcast app. And if you haven't done that already, you're probably, you know how they say like all the IQs on Earth are like in a bell curve. You can like graph IQ to bell curve. If you haven't followed the show, you're on the left side. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're definitely on the left side.
I thought you were going to say you are on one of the two sides. You're either very smart for not following the podcast, or you're very stupid.
Nope.
Not sure which.
Nope. I have an opinion. I'm going to share it. Press the fucking follow button, okay? Or I won't give you any kisses.